That's the guy we hired to spray our fields because this thing doesn't want to cooperate. So I have to apologize. I haven't done a real good job of updating what's been going on recently. And one thing that's kind of hard about recording what you do when you're working, we work with some pretty heavy stuff and the cameras are pretty delicate. So it's usually if we're working on something, I'm not in a good mood, or neither is Gary. So I just, not that I don't want to document because people want to see the drama and stuff, but like it's the last thing I'd feel like doing is like, oh, hold on, I got to record this when I'm super upset and there's money on the line and time on the line and we just need to get stuff going. So I'm going to try and explain a little bit better what's going on with the sprayer and why that guy is spraying our fields instead of us. I might have to do this in the cab though, because it's just a little bit windy this morning. This sprayer has had multiple issues. If you watch the channel for a while, you know that it's probably our weakest link, which is kind of sad because it's one of the newer pieces of equipment that we have. It was working fine for the first round of spraying, and then when Gary went out to do the second round, the hydraulics wouldn't lift the boom up. And so we thought maybe our cylinder was stuck. It's happened before and we didn't really know how to fix it. We actually put the forks off the tractor behind it and helped lift it up to see if we could free up that, I need a haircut, good Lord. See if we could free up the cylinder, see what it was. And it has worked in the past, but now we're thinking, well, maybe it's not a cylinder, maybe there's an electrical issue. We really can't figure it out. It seems like all the switches are working. I'll show you what those look like. But we tested them all with a separate battery, put a little thing to them, and you can hear them clicking. So they're working. And the hydraulics, there's fluid moving because when something moves, something else has got, if it's getting resistance, something else kind of moves. He's taken all the fuses out. We've tested all the fuses, all the relays, everything seems to be fine. But for some reason, electricity isn't getting from the cab, the little controller up here, to the valves that say move the boom, move that wing out, move it in, out, up, down. We've been trying to track it down and it just it got too late. We weren't going to be able to do it. We weren't going to be able to figure it out and get it fixed in time because corn is growing really fast. We had that cold stretch and now the heat is turned on. And I waited a week and a half. I finally, last night, decided to turn on my air conditioner for the first time. So here, before the summer advances too far, I want to show you this. When we were planting this year, I think on some of the previous videos, I was talking about, I'm sure I was, because I was aggravated as all hell about it. But one side of the planter was having issues, and we were having the spring issues with the clutch and electrical connection issues, and sometimes it would not plant and we weren't sure if it was. It seemed like it was, or it would be skipping and it wouldn't tell us that it was not planting, but it wasn't. Or sometimes it would work just perfectly fine. And actually, just because I saw it here, there's a spot right here close to the house that didn't plant the way it's supposed to. Gary went back in and put some seeds in it, but since it's right here, I'm going to show you, now that the corn is up, what exactly that did. So yeah, see that little strip right there? Just 6 rows that one of a couple things could have happened. I shut it off when I was planting because I thought I was coming to the end of the row, which I clearly wasn't, or it just at that point decided to not plant those 6 rows. Not really sure. I do see one all the way over there to the right. There's like one straggling corn plant by itself. So I don't know if that just happened to just drop a seed there for whatever reason. You can tell it was obviously in the ground still, but I'm not really sure what exactly happened, if that was me or if that was the planter. I'm thinking it was probably the planter, but it's really hard to tell this year. Hopefully that'll be remedied next year so we don't have to deal with it. I don't really feel like rebuilding the whole planter, and it's a little bit of an issue with the tension between where the things are mounted. We found a couple bolts that were not as tight as they should be, and we think like one of the rows, the whole unit for one row moved just a hair over time. It just moved over a little bit, which put a little bit of pressure, or a lot of pressure, on some of the further parts down the line, so they wore in like the way they're not, in ways they're not supposed to, making stuff break and not work properly. So hopefully we've got those lined up exactly where they should be, and there's no more tension in there. The problem is once machinery starts to find its home, whether it's supposed to be there or not, it doesn't really want to come out of that. So I don't know, we might end up replacing a lot of stuff on there. I really hope not, but you never know. But man, summer is here. It's pretty early in the morning still, and it's hot. It's already hot. It's not as hot as we'll get, but it's definitely hot. One thing I'm really bad about, and I need to get better at, is coming out to the fields after we plant. I kind of get this mindset, we both do, about when you're farming and you get done with harvest or you get done with planting, oh, you're just done, and you're not. But it's really easy to just go, oh, thank God that's over. Now the next thing is spraying, and you really got to time your spraying right, and you really just kind of need to get out in your fields and see what's going on. And you know, I'm not great at it. Gary keeps me in line on it, but you kind of want to get out here and look and see what the weed pressure is like. And this got sprayed pretty good, and it looks like, I mean, it's going to have one more spray, but I think we're going to be good here. Got a few residual corn there, some grass clumps maybe, but overall it's not looking bad, like stuff like that. This is a good time to get that. You kind of want all that stuff to come up a little bit and then spray it. There's another example of a cheat row, flex row I call them. All the rows are nice and parallel. This was the edge of the planter. That was the edge of the planter. I didn't get lined up straight, so you got this wide spot right there. What's the difference between a weed and a crop? Timing and location. Normally I'd be really happy that that corn was there, but it's in the beans, so it's not supposed to be there. That means it's a weed. Take that, corn. One thing I did do a pretty decent job at this year is actually lining up the bean rows in between the old corn rows, because when you cross these stalks, the planter just drives over them and actually doesn't get the seed in the ground. So if you're doing that, every time you cross over a little bit like that, you have 12 rows that aren't going to get planted the way they should. I think I did a pretty good job of splitting the rows, which I'm not always doing, that's for sure. I did a pretty good job here, I think, this year. You see all those dead corn stalks there?